phenomenon was taking off, but researchers weren't. They needed a pilot and a photographer. Busty Taylor fit the bill on both counts.
I've met so many interesting people from so many different countries, and it's amazing how we all talk the same type of language. We're trying to find an answer to questions, and we're all trying to get the ultimate goal all the time. And it's every culture you can think of. And it's really amazing that all these people are working on their own, supporting themselves on their own. Like myself, I've supported myself since '85. It's cost me a fortune in photography and flying. Must have spent about $40,000 on photography over the years. No trouble at all. Flying, well, I don't want to calculate that one.
Then what I do is trim it around, have a good look about, make sure that there's nobody around. Then you just tip the plane in.
Busty was one of the first researchers to divine energy patterns in the circles, skillfully using the ancient technique of dowsing.
What's happening here is I'm just dowsing for an energy line. That's the question I'm asking in my head. So I've got the energy line there. The next question is now I'm asking for direction of flow. So I'm going to find out which way this is flowing. Doing my dowsing in 1988. And I'm holding the pieces of wood, and all of a sudden it just did a complete U-turn, came back and smacked me so hard that I let go. It's surprising how much power there is there, really. I wish I knew what it was.
The physical challenges of research posed no problems for the inventive Busty. Among other things, he developed the pole shot.
The idea is 10-second delay, you set the camera off, warp the pole up, and lean the pole to what you think is the right angle.
We had some peculiar incidents occur with cameras on top. They got a bit heavy at some stage.
Busty soon found that some of the crop circles continued to evolve days after they were first discovered.
This one was May the 19th, near Devizes. This is something unusual. This is why you need to fly regularly, because you get what you call the add-on effect. The very thin lines that you see, there's 3 of them in this photograph, were only about 3 inches wide. Perfectly balanced all the way around. Well, on May the 26th, when I flew over it, we have an extra ring around the entire complex. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4. But I would say it would be impossible to actually put an extra line all the way around that perfectly balanced. This is what's kept me going. All these strange things that I have witnessed, either in the photography or on the ground. This is why I know that we are dealing with a genuine type of idea here.
Either from the air or the ground, every second counts. By the mid-90s, the phenomenon was gaining international recognition, helped in part by 2 young men from Bristol, Stuart Dyke and Mark Fussell. The crop circles now had a home on the internet.
Okay, that was right. Aliens have landed. Okay, do you want to lift up?
Yep. Okay.
The glasses, they're normally used for showing movies. Okay, where am I pointing now?
Right, you're pointing back. Okay.
So I'm turning around this way. Okay, I can see the circle.
Right.
We've managed to get a video signal up to the camera 20 feet up. Blind leading the blind. Yeah. So I can see it directly what the camera sees 20 feet up. Yeah, I got it, yeah.
Within hours, the images will be up on the web, and the world will know of the Pusey Circle.
was set up primarily to record the phenomenon and not to have any sort of straight line theory of what's actually causing them. We're very much like journalists, really, for the phenomenon, because we just record the facts and then we let people make up their own minds. That's pretty good. Ah, excellent.
It's like going back in time. It's like going back probably 50 years.
Long-time resident and farmer Polly Carson has embraced the phenomenon as a sacred gift.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley say.
This was an ancient worshipping site long before Avebury. That ancient man worshipped here and travelled here from many areas of the world, and then from here built Silbury Hill, Stonehenge, Avebury. And I don't know if you can see it, but we have a breast there. She's lying down, and there is the belly, and it's like a pregnant belly. This is a very sacred landscape, but that this was the beginning of it. The goddess in our hills was the first thing. Come on, boy, walk.
One of the reports I got after people had been into the junior set was that several women who had actually finished their periods suddenly started again, and as you could imagine, they weren't in the slightest bit pleased. This is one of the most amusing ones, I think. I'm not going to tell you who it was or where it was, but a young man went into a fairly newly formed crop circle, and he had an erection lasting 24 hours.
Well, that's spiritual, all right.
So, funny things happen. You don't need Viagra, do you, when you go to crop circles?
Few people realise that the crop circles now regularly occur throughout Europe, Asia and North America. German researcher Andreas Müller tracks the worldwide phenomenon from present day to its roots in European mythology.
In Europe, also worldwide, the crop circles have a long history. It goes back decades and centuries ago. We have in Germany a lot of fairy tales and folkloristic tales that include crop circles. There is a traveler report from 1590 coming from Holland, and this is a report of a single circle in grass they discovered there. They describe that it looks like trodden down by cloved feet or by hoofed feet. So again, there is a connection to their interpretation as the devil, the same as the mowing devil in 1665.
The discovery of this 17th century woodcut has been taken by some as evidence crop circles have appeared throughout history.
But this is just, I mean, the aliens in our days is the same as the mowing devil in 1665 or whenever that happened. I have seen details on the ground. I have seen and experienced side phenomena or related phenomena which showed me there is something more.
If you have a fresh formation, it got really lots and lots of energy. You can feel that when you step in there. Compasses are really going, they swirl around and go crazy, like changing the directions. And I was stepping into a formation in Germany, and I had a really full mobile phone, and I got into this formation. After 5 minutes, it was like tick, 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 battery's gone flat. And I got out of the formation, got back into the car, and my battery was full, half full again.
Of course, the main country is still England, but what we see, especially this year in the season of 2001, especially the German formations have reached a complexity and a beauty, even on the ground in detail. This is what is very close to what we had in the past years, even here in Wiltshire. Wiltshire has lost his to be the focal point. We have here a lot of formations which, what I say, you put in the grey box. But this doesn't mean, again, in the same way that they are man-made, but you just cannot say anything about it. There's nothing special, not a special quality. And so sometimes I really feel I should have stayed in Germany this year and not being here. But we will see what happens this year.
So I was starting to believe that if we were seeing weird things whilst making circles, maybe the thing to do was to try and ask for more experiences.
It is a room full of unknown circle makers. With great reluctance, they agree to speak about their experiences.
Slammed the brakes on the car, got out the car, stood by the hedge, just watched these two bright lights sitting above the tree line, above the formation.
It looked like a satellite to me, this orange light, but then it stopped, and satellites don't do that, do they?
These two bright lights slowly float and drop down behind the trees, and they disappeared, gone.
And then another one come out from Golden Ball Hill, like Golden Ball, flew underneath the other one and stopped right over the top of this crop circle, and then they both blinked out. And I was glad there was people there who saw it as well. I was like, thank God for that, no one thinks I'm mad anymore. After that I started drawing and thinking about the crop circles and stuff, and I drew a geometric pattern of squares, like fractal squares, with the intention that I was going to start making crop circles. Came back down here the week after, and my design was in the field.
Everybody knows somebody who at least knows somebody who's had a very strange experience. Everybody here accepts that people put down circles and balls of light appear, or various other phenomena happen associated with these formations. But the actual artwork is important.
We do like shamanic ritual and practice before going out, making formations. In our spare time we'll go out to the sacred sites to do ritual, pray, and
a prayer before you make them, you know, to say what you want for that circle to represent or something.
Or to protect us and guide us with what we're doing this evening.
It could just be a fad, you know, it could go, it could disappear, probably because of the fighting between researchers and circle makers and the press, and that would be a real shame if we lose this opportunity to get somewhere with a very real and very, very interesting phenomenon.
Definitely a turning point though.
Once you say you make them, they switch off.
Yeah.
But they don't listen to the second part. Yeah, we make them, but
still...
it generates phenomena.
So it's been a bit of a journey.
For a growing number of visitors to Crop Circle country, the journey would not be complete without a pint from the barge inn.
I watched the population more than double every summer as the times went along, till finally about 2 years ago there were literally hundreds every night.
For the true croppies, there's always room to camp behind the barge.
This is the magical spot for me.
One summer regular is Mystic Merlin.
Crawling up the ether, and at night a formation will appear over there, somewhere. I've been coming to the barge probably about 9 years on and off. I welcome all the visitors that come in. Germany, Switzerland, America, Japan. All the people know me as Merlin. I have a lot of photographs taken, I shake a lot of hands and I do a lot of talking. But I'm here mainly for the game. I could probably show you some real magic involved with the formations and the board. I can actually make something disappear here. Now you see it, now you don't. I shall make it disappear into the design. You got this? This is all Merlin magic. So I come every year to sell the Crop Circle Mysteries board game. I've got the adult version, I've got the children's version, which is very, very simple. These are stones, as in the monument.
But the phenomenon wasn't all fun and games for Merlin.
I went into the field and there was a black shadow that zoomed over the fort, and it sort of zigzagged like this. And it was big. It was really, really big. There was no lights, and I turned and I ran. I've told this story to someone else and the doctor. At that point, they started feeding me tablets, right? And I just lost it. I put the board away. I put it away. Put it away for maybe 2 years. Didn't touch it for my own sanity, because that experience really shook me. To the point where I was on the suspension bridge in Bristol in Clifton ready to jump, and that's a 300-foot drop in the gorge. The second attempt was at a train station in Bristol, Temple Meads, where I was waiting for a train to come to jump early in the morning, but I just sort of pulled back. But that's the kind of thing that happens to you psychologically when you see something you cannot explain and is real.
I've witnessed more than 30 of these in the hot spot of crop circle area in the world in Wiltshire.
They are called night watches.
I can point out where to look roughly, the major places.
Using meditation, Ed sends out an invitation to the forces of crop circle creation in hopes that luminosities will appear. His success at this spot the previous night has drawn him to return again tonight.
In between is a television and radio mast. Very important to make a note where that is in the landscape, because that could be an important place for a sighting. In addition to the general crop circle research, we do night watching, which is predominantly the appearance of plasma. So maybe tonight this is what will happen here. We'll see. And I've had a lot of success doing this kind of meditation, sending out a mental invitation, and then either before, during, or after objects would turn up. I get an adrenaline rush. It's one of the sort of physical indicators I have to the appearance of plasma. Straight ahead, 12 o'clock, to the right of the radio mast.
Where?
Glow,
I just saw it. Yeah.
Just on the horizon. It's like a plasma. You just blink out. Another light. 11 o'clock. Kind of an orange-red colour. I would call that object an unknown at this point. I couldn't clearly write it off as an airplane or a helicopter, despite the flashing.
Researchers felt the evidence strongly supported a genuine phenomenon, their best evidence being actual eyewitness accounts of crop circles being formed. Westbury's Ray Barnes was one of the first.
Just closed the shop and was walking over fields with the dog. About 10 to 6 in the evening, and I saw a crop circle form right in front of my eyes in the fields on 40 acres. The whole process took about 4 seconds. But at the time I thought nothing of it, because there was no interest in crop circles either nationally or locally.
Yes, I think some of them are man-made, but I don't think all of them are.
But as soon as you get a crop circle, you get the people keep walking over the crop and basically put it right down on the ground, virtually flat, and I can't pick that up. The next problem is it grows again. If it's a wheat and you plant barley next year, you're going to have a patch of wheat there. So you've always got a problem as far as the farmers go.
Yeah, in fact, that will line up actually.
Since 1990, Tim Carson's farm has been the world's most popular crop circle canvas.
I think in the 11 years we've had 60 to 70 on this farm.
Like most farms in this area, it is not privately owned, a situation the circle makers have taken advantage of.
My family took the tenancy over on this farm in 1888, so we've been here well over 100 years. And the farm belongs to New College, which is one of the Oxford universities, and they've had it in their ownership since 1370.
This land all around here is owned by the royal family and lent out back to Oxford College, and then they rent it to the farmers. So this is royal land, and I'm not a big royalist, and if I want to use a little bit of a farmer's field to make a crop circle, it actually gives a lot of people, including myself, pleasure. And then that's okay. That's my justification.
The price continues to, go up. So for each circle, you probably say it's costing you £400 to £500, and I've had 60 to 70 over the last 11 years.
In a small circle, it can be as little as £2, and in a big circle, it can be as big as £60. And these are going by National Union of Farmers figures.
Majority of farmers are convinced, they're just hoaxes done by people destroying and damaging their crops.
The Centre for Crop Circle Studies holds the second conference of the summer in Andover, Hampshire.
That table belongs to Judy Young.
Have you been near it? Is it a good one, a real one? Eastfield, the pyramid.
One of the lovely parts of attending these conferences is the personal connection with people who come up and they want to buy things. They often tell me the most amazing stories, which is lovely, and then I can give them a questionnaire and they can fill it in, and they become my heroes because they're added to my database. And this really is how my research progresses, with these wonderful stories. But at the same time, you give out a lot of energy. By the end of the weekend, you're totally whacked.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2001 CCCS Crop Circle Convention. The theme of this convention is going to be the energy of the circles.
It was here in 2000 that Colin Andrews made the most controversial speech of his career.
I stated there that approximately 80%, these were my findings, I think about 82% of those formations that have been researched by me during 1999 and the year 2000 showed overwhelming evidence of being made by people. That went down in British terms like a lead balloon. It feels to me like I have knifed these people. I have turned members of my own family and my friends. They feel as if I betrayed them.
And to mislead those people is one of the unforgivable sins. And I believe Colin does that. I think it's an unforgivable sin. And bless him, I don't really think he knows what he's doing.
He drew a lot of protest from that, and I think he even got death threats for it, which is a bit unfortunate. I mean, he's only expressing a point of opinion.
But at the end of the day, the bottom line is that we must speak our truth if we're to get anything out of the last 18 years.
His 80% probably isn't that far off from the truth. But the interesting thing is about the 20% of readings that he got, because that's where the important stuff is.
For me personally, it doesn't really matter how they get there. The effect is tremendous. It seems like even a small disturbance on the landscape draws people. Well, I've been up to Wiltshire to see what the weather's like, and about 60% blue patches, so we should be okay. I personally seem to have been put on a path to do what I do, and nothing will change that. I've tried to get off the merry-go-round and can't. There seems to be some sort of destiny in this.
Steve Alexander has perfected the art of crop circle photography. With planning, luck and lots of hard cash, he struggles all summer long to catch the formations in the best possible light.
We're limited by cost. I mean, the cost of taking a helicopter up all the time is phenomenal.
Usually our helicopter bill's somewhere between £4,500 to £5,000 a year.
But from the air, it's a different world.
You know, Wiltshire is, we feel, the important place for this activity. That seems to be the hot spot.
Keep it like that. Moment, please, I'll just change your nexus.
Download our email first thing in the morning, or the telephone's ringing first thing in the morning. Oh, there's a new one here and there's a new one there, and then it's looking up at the sky. Is the weather going to play ball? And
well, the weather is a major hindrance to this whole operation, because I like to capture the formations in good light. Sometimes it's only 50-50, and you get there and there's a great big cloud over the whole area. You have to judge it just right.
I think we've lost the sun actually, haven't we? We have. Okay, should we get back to the other one?
To take a photograph of a crop formation in cloudy weather, you just don't get the impact.
It's a mortal sin.
It's just, I just wouldn't bother.
I missed it. I can't do it. Peter, is the other one in sunlight, yeah? Can you see? It will be in a minute. Okay, should we shoot up? You have to come back to this one.
The day paid off, but for Steve, a beautiful image is just the beginning.
I have no doubt that people do make crop circles, but there's something else that's coming. I was there probably all the time, orchestrating the whole thing.
First time I've used this one, so it's not mine.
That's it off, right. Yeah.
Technology.
Go.
Got it right. Squashed.
It's work in progress. Next year we'll have basically have a much better system. All this thing is like an evolution step, you know. So
at this point, things seem to be going on normally at a normal pace, and the designs are evolving. There are several different types of designs that are evolving, and I have no doubt that when the grand finale occurs, we'll be able to look back at some of these here, maybe this one, and say, yes, that was the seed of the grand finale. Hi.
Hello. We've got another one then.
This is quite nice. It's been here for a couple of days, actually.
Has it really? I was speaking to a gentleman at work last week, and he believes that they're extraterrestrial. Are you of that view, or?
I am currently of the view that they're man-made.
Splendid.
It took me 10 years, or it took me many years to get to that point, but they're man-made by brilliant young Picassos who don't sign their name.
What changed your view?
That I figured out how they could be done, and then I started making friends with the artists, and then I went out and I made some. And so there's nothing that I have seen here that could not be made by people.
Oh, right.
If they go out and make hoaxes with the intention to deceive, that's a criminal activity. If they go out to make hoaxes without the farmer's permission, That is deception, and they should be prosecuted. Now, there are some people who do make crop circles for challenging the scientific community with the farmer's permission, and that's fine, because we need that. Because without man-made formations, we can't measure the real phenomenon by. We're getting anomalies, but what are we getting? What are we comparing it to?
Oh, Simeon, do we have a measurement?
I perceived that most of them were made by people, but that didn't explain why there were unusual energies. So Dr. Hine came up with the idea to measure the energies with a Trek 520 meter. And this is an electrostatic detection device that measures electrostatic gradients in the environment.
This is the Team Cosmos Experimental Circle. This is the first one that we did. And this was just to see if we could work as a team. Just to feel what it was like to push the boards into the wheat. So it was kind of just a small one, just to see what would happen.
He's forming the line.
No one had ever made a formation before, and we really wanted to see what it would be like, to actually to test out the tool.
We don't normally like to put crop circles right on a tram line, but it's convenient for us.
Yeah.
So that completes the outline of this little circle. And now we can all do some stomping.
We had some of that so-called magically standing crop, which to me used to be a sign of authentic circles, because how could something be standing if the boards went across? But even with the 6 of us working, we were able to recreate magical stalks without even trying.
Unfortunately, within the research environment, there is great hostility to hoaxing, which tends to preclude any rational investigation of the subject. It's perceived as something negative, something criminal, and something which needs to be quashed, kept quiet. And that really has hampered our efforts since day one to come to terms with what is genuine and what is not.
Of course, these are my favorites. These are what have always mystified me. Oh, I go for the grape shot.
See if you can make it a little grape shot that's so small by turning clockwise.
Okay.
It just stays within the width of the tram line. Then we'll have 3 little grape shots in a row.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. And I've done everything. I've slept in them. I've night watched in them. I've loved crop circles.
Magic. Whoa.
Having been involved in this project, all of the wonder, all of what it is still right here. So it really doesn't matter how they're formed. There's something in the formation that has an energy and a message or an experience all your own.
The truth of it is, this is a research project, and it should have been done before by other serious research groups. Does it make magical bends? Does it have energetic effects? Does it move people? Does it have the signature of the genuine? And from our experience here, from this project, it does.
We're now getting crop circle research groups making their own formations, trying to see what's happening. But again, they've always got this sort of arrogance that they make one formation, and it doesn't matter how good or bad it is, they make one, and they're saying, God, I've made a formation. That explains everything. When, of course, it doesn't explain anything. It just means they've made one formation. Just because one thing is made in one way doesn't mean that's how they're all made.
And surprisingly, this rather innocent experiment enraged a lot of the researchers, the serious believer researchers. This was like a blasphemy. It's like if I painted a picture of God with a mustache on him or something like that.
Yet, There are no stronger advocates for a genuine phenomenon than those who have lived among the circles for 20 years.
I don't want to die without knowing what has been doing all this. I mean, the thing is, bottom line, no matter how much you talk about hoaxing or whatever, it doesn't explain all of it.
Last summer in Wiltshire we had 70 formations. That's within 15-mile radius of Avebury. 70! It's a huge number. If you think that most of them were the size of a football pitch. It's not a desert. You know, there are lots of people who live here. It's full of villages. So to think of having several thousand formations appearing in what is really 15-mile radius of Avebury without human beings ever being seen or spotted is unrealistic.
I think we've proven beyond any doubt that we are dealing with something genuine. And there's no doubt that people are making crop circles. It's no different than people replicating masterpieces of art or money. But however, when you're asked to demonstrate a very complicated design, they can't do it in a very short space of time. They take hours. And this is what we don't understand. These formations appear in a matter of, like the darkness here in the middle of the summer is only like 4 hours. And yet these enormous formations appear in the blink of an eye.
There is something occurring here that I think connects the people, the human being, with the events in the fields. We are part of what's occurring in those fields. I haven't found the pulse quite yet, but there is something there.
Some of them seem to have a vibe, if you like, from the moment that they start appearing in the field. They start to take on a vibe, and then that's the one that will stick with it.
You know, people are going out there making crop circles and asking for other people to have paranormal experiences in them. That's why people make crop circles, because they've had paranormal experiences whilst making them, and they want other people to have paranormal experiences and things that are going to open their eyes and wake them up. I've seen black figures in the field.
We had an extra person in there one night.
Team member that just disappeared.
Yeah.
And this ghostly like things happening, or strange coincidences.
Balls of light is a regular one.
Light. There is this extra dimension of paranormal stuff, and you can work with it.
When you're making a circle, it's very hard work, but you never really feel tired. It's very exhausting, but you rarely get out of breath. It's not uncomfortable. It's like a type of euphoria. It's just a very warm, glowing, loving, sort of positive feeling.
When I was in crop circles for the first year, I believed they were made by aliens. But once I started to look beneath the surface, and I really looked hard, I found out the truth. I found out that circle makers make the real thing, the things that attract paranormal. So, you have to go through that disillusionment stage to come out the other side and learn from it.
And you feel more empowered as a result, you know, because then the experience and the interaction is no longer out of your hands. It's really, the answer's always been underneath your nose all along, but you couldn't quite see it.
So we've got a children's festival going on, we've got a goddess conference going on. There's only 10,000 people in this town. It's a small little town. About half of us are priests. That's what it is. Well, and we do have excellent pot down here. We have really superb pot.
As a metaphysician trained in esoteric philosophy, Stanley Messenger is a respected elder of Glastonbury. To him, the crop circles come as no surprise.
For me, crop circles were the main doorway into the realization that paranormal events were on the increase. And the expectation that they would be on the increase is really based on, for many years, I've been expecting a fundamental change in the relationship of humanity in general to the experience of consciousness on the planet. The first time I saw one was near Winchester at a place called Chesford Head. And literally, for me, it was like being kicked in the stomach by a horse. It went straight into my solar plexus, and I knew I was perceiving the thing through a set of perceptive and apparatus which was being woken by the actual thing itself.
No one could exactly put their finger on it, but there was a feeling of recognition.
One local organiser of the conference is Paulden Jenkins.
There's a connection between crop formations and ancient sites, connection with underground water, there's a connection with ley lines, there's a connection with UFO-related and metaphysical, paranormal phenomena. There are historical connections, symbological connections, religious ones. There are all sorts of threads which come into it, which are just fascinating, and there's a person to embody each and every one of them.
So if you took those 4, done 2, 3, 4, and then the extra one there.
Paulden's partner, Sheila Martin, along with Andy Thomas and Karen Douglas, are the primary force behind the symposium.
Well, I'll tell you what would be helpful if you could have, if you're going to take 4 away, if you could have steps coming up one side, steps the other, and then you can approach from either side.
Really good. Oh, that's charming.
Should we try it?
Charming.
Let's do it.
But it's a huge part of my year, and it actually takes 12 months to put it all together, and I'm at it every day, with emails organising this, that or the other. But it's a tremendous experience, and for a lot of people, and for me, it's kind of the highlight of their croppy year, if you like. Now we just need another one on that end, don't we? And I think over 10 years it's progressed and it's evolved just as much as the people involved with this subject have evolved and progressed, and the phenomenon has itself. And we've encouraged people from outside the field to come in and actually add what they think about the crop circles.
You're seeing the gritty reality of crop circle wisdom here. Perfect fit.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
It's perfect fit.
Isn't that a nice colour?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? It is. I like the green.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. Lovely to see you. Welcome to the 11th Glastonbury Symposium.
And although I'm one of the organisers, I still like to give a presentation. I'm on usually at 9:30 on a Saturday morning, and people are still waking up from the night before, so you need to do something which is going to shake people out of their expectations and just wake them up a bit. I came in as the big religious cult figure with my sort of acolytes around me, worshipping me, and it's very much, a satire on cults of personality and people whose egos run away with them. Then use that as a starting point to go on about how we give our power away so easily to other people. People who tell us how to live their lives and what God wants and what God believes.
My brethren, thanks for coming.
Once a year, I don't mind making a fool of myself.
It's no skin-off realities knows at all. It makes no difference that some of the creative processes involved are being carried out by human beings. They're also being carried out by other entities. And human beings are as good as anybody else as far as that's concerned. Now, this is the kind of opinion that, for instance, with Michael Wickman, it would be impossible really to share, because he feels that human beings haven't got that particular creative slant on the process. I think they have, some.
but there was one more surprise in store for 2001.
Shortly after this giant galaxy, we get the report of there being a face down at Chirbolton. Now this is where we have a radio telescope in Hampshire. There's a face and there's a second formation which is like a message from outer space.
Commonly called the Arecibo message, it appears to be a reply to a NASA communication broadcast into space in 1974. The crop circle incorporates the same binary code as the original message.
The technique is entirely different, the look is entirely different. The crop circle pundits say, with justification, this is a new kind of crop circle.
Combined with the face, they were like no other crop circles ever seen. The phenomenon had changed again.